Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A trial begins Monday morning at the federal courthouse here in Green Bay concerning a young man who died while in the Calumet County jail.
Demetrius Stevenson took his own life in 2019 after spending 3 months at the jail. His estate filed a federal lawsuit in 2022. A federal judge issued a decision last November allowing this case to go to trial against Calumet County and 3 county social workers. In this first alert, we take a closer look at the details surrounding the trial as well as the claims from both sides. The lawsuit alleges Demetrius Stevenson had serious mental health issues and that Calumet County and those workers violated his constitutional rights by failing to provide treatment. According to court documents, authorities arrested Stevenson on May 2, 2019 for theft of movable property and operating a motor vehicle without owner's consent. He was booked into the Calumet County Jail and couldn't post the cash bail. During his time at the jail, Stevenson reported at different times feeling sad, depressed, and at times suicidal. Jail staff also indicated concerns. Demetrius Stevenson died by suicide on August 22, 2019, while in Calumet County custody, 1 month after his 18th birthday. His estate filed a federal lawsuit 3 years later, telling us this week in a statement, quote, Demetrius's tragic death was preventable. Although we can't bring Demetrius back, we hope this trial will achieve some justice for Demetrius and his family, end quote. In a November 2024 court decision that sent this case to trial, federal judge William Griesbach says that Stevenson was not an inmate. He was a pre-trial detainee and as such was entitled to the protection of the 14th Amendment, the Due Process Clause. The amendment prohibits states from depriving any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The judge says this could lead a jury to consider, in this case, whether that includes a right to medical care and protection from self-harm. The estate alleges that Stevenson was only seen on a crisis basis, that he was never formally assessed, and that Calumet County had no policy in place at the jail to respond or train staff how to assess mental health and evaluate the need for medication. In response, the attorneys for Calumet County expressed condolences over Stevenson's death and told Action 2 News, quote, everyone within Calumet County did their best to help Mr. Stevenson. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, a tragedy cannot be avoided. We will present the facts in court and trust that a jury will reach a fair and just conclusion, end quote. And according to court documents, Calumet County workers did meet with Stevenson several times over the course of that summer. Initially, Stevenson told them he didn't want ongoing therapy services and wasn't interested in starting new medication while in jail. A jury will now decide whether Calumet County and or any of those 3 employees were unreasonable in their responses to his mental health needs and whether they failed to act to Stevenson's risk of suicide. That federal trial begins 8:30 Monday morning.